Your bread is broken. In 1943, a United States Army colonel watched his battalion march 115 miles in 3 days carrying full combat gear. They ate field rations, hardtack biscuits, canned meat, coffee. The bread was dense whole wheat, 12 ounces per man per day. When they arrived in Atlanta, not a single soldier had dropped out voluntarily. Feet destroyed, uniforms caked in mud. But they marched. But now, 70% of young Americans do not even qualify to enlist. 2 out of shape. Type 2 diabetes has exploded since 1960. Your bakery bread sits on the shelf for 2 weeks and stays soft. World War II ration bread went rock hard in 3 days. One bread fed armies that won a world war. The other makes you crash 1 hour after eating it. Have you ever crashed hard after eating bread? That brain fog, that exhaustion? Let us know, because what you are about to learn explains why. Let us start with what is in your bread. Let us take a look at the ingredients. Enriched wheat flour. That is code for we stripped out everything useful, then added back synthetic vitamins to meet legal minimums. Mono and diglycerides. Calcium propionate. Azodicarbonamide. That last one is also in yoga mats. 12 to 15 ingredients for bread. Compare that to 1942. British soldiers ate national loaf. It was mandated by the Ministry of Food because merchant ships kept getting torpedoed and there was no wheat to waste. 4 ingredients: whole wheat flour, water, salt, and yeast. The loaf was 85% whole grain. Bran and germ, all the nutrition stayed in. Compare that to 1942. Britain was under siege. German U-boats were hunting every ship crossing the Atlantic. March 1942. Alone, 275 ships were sunk. Wheat imports were cut in half, so the Ministry of Food had a problem. They had to feed 60 million people and a massive army with half the wheat. Their solution was the national loaf. The government made it mandatory. Every bakery in Britain could only bake one thing. No white bread was allowed. Bakers hated it. Customers complained, too brown, too dense, too heavy. But it worked. It kept an entire nation alive through 6 years of war. It was dense, it was heavy, and it went stale in 3 days. That's what real food does. Now look at yours. Modern roller mills strip the bran and germ at high speed. What is left? Pure white starch. Then they bleach it with chlorine gas. They add back a handful of synthetic vitamins and call it enriched. It is like removing your car's engine, handing you a bicycle, and calling it an upgrade. But it gets worse. Your supermarket loaf is mixed, proofed, and baked in under 3 hours because speed is money. World War II military bakers let dough ferment 8 to 12 hours minimum, with limited commercial yeast and thousands of men to feed. That slow fermentation did something critical. Natural bacteria broke down the proteins and starches, pre-digesting the bread and making it easier on your gut. Studies from Germany in 2020 analyzed 120 years of wheat varieties. The gluten composition changed. Gliadins, the part that triggers most gut reactions, decreased by 18%. Glutenins increased by 25%. That makes modern dough stretchy, perfect for factory processing. But your great-grandfather's gut never saw this protein ratio. And fermentation neutralizes phytic acid. That compound binds to minerals like iron and zinc and blocks absorption. Slow fermentation breaks it down. No fermentation means mineral blockers. The glycemic index of Wonder Bread is 73, higher than Coca-Cola at 63. World War II whole wheat ration bread was around 45 to 50, with slow energy release and no crash. Now here's how they actually fed an army. American K rations used hardtack biscuits, flour, water, salt, baked until rock solid. Soldiers sometimes needed pliers to break them, but those biscuits lasted months and delivered 3,200 calories a day when paired with canned meat. German Kommissbrot was even more extreme. Dark rye mixed with wheat, it was fermented for 16 hours, baked slow until almost black. Soldiers called it Panzerbrot, tank bread, because you could supposedly throw it at enemy armor. They hated it. But rye has less gluten than wheat, and that 16-hour fermentation broke down every enzyme inhibitor in the grain. The wheat itself was different. Old wheat varieties, the kind farmers had grown for generations, were still widely planted. Heritage varieties had higher protein content than modern wheat. Protein builds muscle. Protein repairs tissue. The wheat from the 1940s was not pumped with nitrogen fertilizer. Farmers used crop rotation and manure. Healthier soil grows grain with more micronutrients. That includes selenium for immune function, magnesium for muscle recovery, and zinc for wound healing. A 2019 study comparing heirloom wheat to modern varieties found no difference in gut health markers. The wheat was not the issue. How we process it is the issue. So, what happened? How did we go from that to this? It was 1945 and the war was over. Soldiers came home wanting soft white bread like the ads promised. The food industry saw an opportunity. They had spent 4 years perfecting industrial-scale production. Now they turned that machinery on bread. But here is the problem. Whole grain spoils fast. You cannot ship it cross-country or stack it on shelves for weeks. They found a solution. They removed everything that spoils. Mills ran hotter and faster, destroying the oils. Flour lasted months in a warehouse. Bakers added dough conditioners to speed up rising. They added preservatives so the loaf could sit on a truck for a week. Emulsifiers kept it soft. The loaf you buy today was probably baked 4 days ago. Consumers loved it. Soft, white, lasted forever. It cost half as much as bakery bread. Nobody noticed for 20 years. Then the diseases started. Type 2 diabetes was almost unheard of in 1950. A family doctor might see 1 case a year, maybe 2. By 1980, it became an epidemic. Every other patient was walking through the door. The timeline matches perfectly. In the 1950s, your grandmother was still baking bread on Sundays, using whole wheat flour. She let it rise overnight. Everyone in the neighborhood ate bread with every meal. Nobody was diabetic. Nobody was obese. Then, in the late 1950s, Wonder Bread hit every grocery store. Cheap, soft, it lasted 2 weeks. Your mom stopped baking. Why would she? This was easier. In the 1970s, bread consumption stayed the same, but now everyone was getting sick. Doctors were confused. People were told to eat less fat, eat more whole grains. So why was everyone getting fatter? Because the bread changed. Your grandmother's bread and Wonder Bread were not even the same food. The food industry will tell you it is because people are lazy. They do not exercise enough. They eat too much. But that does not explain why bread triggers inflammation, blood sugar crashes, and gut problems, even in people who do exercise, even in healthy people. The problem is the bread itself changed. We optimized bread for shelf life, not human life, for profit margins, not nutrition. And when people started getting sick, the industry blamed you. You are gluten intolerant. You are sensitive. You have a condition. No, you are having a normal reaction to an abnormal product. So what do you do about it? First, find a baker who does it right. Ask them directly. How long do you ferment? Less than 8 hours? Walk out. What flour do they use? Commercial white, walk out. Farmers markets, small bakeries, sourdough made the slow way. It costs more, and it goes stale in 2 days. That's how you know it's real. Second, bake it yourself. Use whole wheat flour and a sourdough culture. Let it ferment overnight. Yes, it's work, but once you've tasted bread that does not make you crash, supermarket foam tastes like insulation. Third, eat less bread. You have other options: oats, potatoes, rice. Soak them overnight, and you get the same effect as fermentation. The point is not to cosplay as a 1940s soldier. The point is, their bread was food. Yours is a product. The secret was never lost. It is in every 1940s military nutrition manual. Whole grain, slow fermentation, simple ingredients. Your great-grandfather ate bread and lived to 90. You eat bread and crash on the couch. Every time you buy real bread, you vote against the system that made you sick for profit. If this made sense, make sure to subscribe. We are digging up what World War II soldiers knew about food, survival, and staying strong. Knowledge that worked under the worst conditions. Knowledge that still works now.